Martin Hankins, back judge, SEC. I think on this play we're looking at some holding action. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so, uh, the big thing here, right? I mean, we have a pre-snap responsibility as to where we're starting, right? Which would be on the
Yeah.
bottom for the trip side for the back judge, right?
Yep.
But there's many other things that we can take into consideration with this play. One, we have trips into the boundary, which is a short side of the field. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
we're condensing our field down to essentially this bottom half down here. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
we can kind of get an idea. We have a lot of field to the top of the field, right?
Yeah.
And so just know that as you read that, your third receiver is not in press coverage, and you don't have a receiver up top. Everything is condensed down to this boundary. But know that a lot of times the offensive they may run something into the boundary, but a lot of teams are also trying to get to the field and get players in space where they can make plays. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So have that feel. One thing about the that's great with a back judge position is right. I mean, we cover the whole field. We cover the whole field.
Right.
Whereas a deep wing or some of those other positions, you may be constrained as far as a third of the field or even a half of the field. But at the back judge position, you're covering the whole field, and so it gives you an opportunity to get involved on run plays and pass plays on each side of the field. And so, as a back judge, be one of those back judges who wants to get involved and is getting involved in the whole field.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Martin.
Yep.
So I'm looking here, and the number three receiver, which would be your initial key, is covered up. Do you have a sense of that from your back judge position? And if so, what do you do with that information?
Absolutely. And so typically our short wings will share that information with us.
Ah,
And so that's going to allow us to know that, right, he can't necessarily go downfield for a pass, right, with a pass crossing the line of scrimmage. He can't go
right.
downfield for a run. But as far as a pass is concerned, and so we may still have eyes on him a little bit, but you know where he's at, but you don't necessarily have to focus on him 100%.
Ah, good. Okay, cool,
Yep.
cool. All
Yep.
right. So let's. I'll just let it roll through one time,
Yep.
and then there's all kind of craziness going on with the defense, obviously trying to get set up.
That's correct.
I don't know if that throws off your mental at least.
Not too much. Uh,
All right, and we see a simple run play. I think I have the end zone angle as well,
yep.
and we are focusing on our guy. I believe he's the right
That's
guard.
correct. That's correct. And so
Go ahead.
what I would say before this play, as this play develops, feel feel and sense the flow of this play. Okay,
Ah, yeah,
meaning you sense and feel those offensive linemen coming out and going to their right, which would be your left, and have a sense, uh, in a little football sense, an IQ of knowing where that play is going when you feel those guys going there, and
so
and and reading that right,
okay.
which yep,
So you're do you have in your mind right now, are you thinking run pass? Are you thinking anything like that? Do you
yeah,
use down a distance? Do you do any of
I
that, or are you just really reacting?
I do. I mean, if I remember correctly, we were in a second and short situation here.
Yeah, second
Uh,
and two.
yep. And so, you have a little bit of an idea that, hey, they may, odds are they may throw the ball some. I mean, run the ball. I'm sorry. not necessarily the case, but I do know that they have 3 receivers with an up back also. If you want to consider him, he's not outside the tackle, but we have 3 receivers in the short side of the field with one covered up and an up back to the short side of the field as well. And so all the space is essentially in the field is to the quarterback's right, and so have that sense to know that they may be trying to get these players in space. But look, some of that comes with this type of offense, right? I know this type of offense, they like to get players in space and let them make plays. And so know your offenses and what type of players they have as well.
Cool. Okay, so let's let it run. And then obviously we know we talked about that your initial key was covered up. Now
that's correct. So
as a back judge now, what are you doing now?
So as soon as I sense and I read, right, I read that play is going the way that it's going, then immediately I'm getting my eyes to what I consider second level point of attack blocks. Okay. Because in this situation, I don't have a slot receiver to the field. Remember, all my receivers are on the back side here.
That's right.
So if there's any way I can get in here and help out, whether it be our umpire, our referee, our short wing, anybody, I want to help them out, right? Yeah. Let's get involved in the play and get active in the play. Well, how do we do that? One, we're going to get our eyes to point of attack and get our eyes at that second level block, which is the only place it can be right now. All right. We don't have anybody to the field lined up out there to help out with that. If there is, there may be one receiver, if I remember, but I don't believe there is. So
no, there wasn't. Let me get the wide end zone view. Go ahead.
So like you said, I mean, there's nobody out there. So get our eyes and get involved in the play. Get our eyes to the point of attack. And if you get your eyes to the point of attack, at this point, it's going to take you to a second level block by this guard.
So
linebacker.
And we see these RPO type offenses. Let me play devil's advocate. What happens if this quarterback pulls it and goes to the other side? So let me ask you, and I'm gonna try to draw your vision.
Yep.
You started out over here because you had an initial key.
That's correct.
The ball got snapped. You read the flow. So then you start moving. And let me use a different color for that. You started out over here because of your initial key. The ball got snapped. You realize all the flow is coming this way. What happens if this quarterback pulls it? Are you just gonna you're gonna bring your eyes back to this other side as a potential point of attack?
That's correct, too.
Gotcha.
That is correct. And right. I mean, that's what you got to do.
And you just got to feel. You just have to feel that, huh?
That's correct. And feel it and sense it and have a little football sense and know to get back over there, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be able to tell the reactions of those receivers more than likely, right?
Yeah.
As to if that quarterback has that ball, and so at that point you're going to get back over there and get your eyes there.
Gotcha.
And so I would agree with that.
And when you moved, you read the flow to your left, the offense is right. You moved and you transitioned your eyes to the left side, and you mentioned second level. So is that how you're going to prioritize where to look? You're going to start. Do you start inside out? Do you start outside in? Do you go deep to shallow, shallow to deep? How do you determine? Like, how did you determine to go right here to this matchup?
I'm probably going to be inside out on this play just because that block is the most dangerous to me. Right?
Yeah.
In my opinion. Now, as the play develops, then I'm going to let my eyes take me farther outside, but more than not, I'm going to go to what I consider is the most dangerous block at the point of attack.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm going to walk through it.
That's right. At this point, that is the most dangerous block because that runner is still inside of that, what I consider, he's not inside of the tackle box, but he's inside of the tackle's position as the play
Mm-hmm.
develops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I would consider the most dangerous block at this point in time.
And a huge takedown. I mean, great
Absolutely.
get by you. I mean, golly.
Right. But right. So we realize, right, we have a takedown.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a
Okay.
takedown, right. So, but we're going to wait and see what happens with this runner, right? Because at this point, he's pushed behind the line of scrimmage, right? If he
Yeah.
gets tackled 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, we might not necessarily throw that, but
Ooh.
process it, right?
Yeah.
And then once we see that play develop and the runner does break out for a large gain, then we can come back and throw our flag for a takedown.
All right. I like that. So let me ask you this then. So what are you going to do? Do y'all in the SEC, do you write up your files and other things in a report after the game?
We do. We do.
Okay, so let's say you determine, let's say he does get tackled back there in the line, back there 5 yards deep, and then you didn't throw a flag on this huge takedown. What would you say? How would you explain that?
So I would, in my write up, I would say no foul thrown, saw takedown point of attack by number, I think is it
78.
76?
I think it's 78. Yeah.
78 saw this, but tackle occurred 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, or 5 yards, or however many yards it is,
Uh-huh.
and just let them know what you saw.
Okay. So are you only determining proximity of the tackle to the fouling action, or are you considering timing as well? Because let's say we got the takedown, the dude is in the backfield. If he gets tackled right now, yeah. Now
Right.
let's say he comes here, stops, reverses field, goes back to the other side, and then still loses yardage. Are you still going to pass on that, or are you only considering proximity?
Not necessarily in that situation. I think in that situation, you probably would consider timing as well too.
Okay. So it's not. It's okay. Gotcha. Good. Good. I
Yeah,
wanted to clarify that.
I think timing and proximity are things you can always factor in
Yeah.
as to that, and that's a great point.
Man,
So
that's a great get though.
yeah, but I'm like you too, Ty. If he breaks this, comes out, and then runs back, and still loses yards, I think you do need a foul thrown in that situation.
Yeah, because this number 7 dude that got taken down,
That's
he
right.
could have he could have done something with, he could have
Exactly.
affected him some kind of way back there.
Right. And if you look on this play, right, so know that linebacker, okay, he's trying to get outside position on that guy.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Set the edge.
He's got outside contain on that guy.
Yep.
And that guard knows that, right? And so that guard realizes he's trying to get outside contain, and I can't get to him, right, to keep him from getting out there. And so the only thing I can do is take him down.
Wow.
Which will allow that run to break open. And so, and look, all that factors in, right? That's a hard block on a guard.
Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah.
He's a big 300-pound guy trying to block this 240, 50-pound guy who's quicker than he is. And he's still got to get up to get him. And so that's a tough block for a guard. But just the big thing in this is back judges, there's always a way to help and get involved in a play. And that's what you want to do every play.
Martin Hankins, you the man. You know what? I want to ask you one more thing, because this was something interesting to me. At the end of the play, all right, you finished officiating, obviously, which is cool. But then you went and you wanted to adjust your flag. How do you talk about how you determine where you're going to adjust your flag to and how you're going to adjust your flag? Because we can see you picking up your flag and adjusting it.
Yeah, exactly. And I still may have missed this by 1 or 2 yards, but just have an idea of where that hold occurred.
Okay.
and do your best
Okay.
to get it on the correct spot. But if it's not on the correct spot, the first thing you want to do is when you run up, get your flag on the correct spot, and then go report it to the referee.
Okay.
Okay. So you use whatever method you need to use, right, to get that spot correct.
What do you do?
And
Like, how do you determine, okay, my flag, how do you know if it hit the right spot, and how do you know where to move it to? Because you're 30
I,
yards away from it.
yeah, that's right. And I try to visualize, have an idea, right, of knowing, all right, so I know where this ball was snapped from.
Ah, yeah.
I, I know where this guy, this guard, I, I believe he came 2 yards downfield. In my brain, he came 2 yards downfield and took this guy down, and the run went beyond, all right,
Yeah.
the line of scrimmage and beyond the hold,
Yeah.
the spot of the foul. And so I try to use all those factors to help me get the correct spot.
I love that.
Yeah,
Especially love that line of scrimmage thing, because guess what? The box is right there. So the
that's
box
right.
ain't moving, and the box is
Exactly.
marking the line of scrimmage. So if you sit there and say, well, I know he was a couple yards beyond the line of scrimmage, well, you could just go find the box and put your flag right where 2 yards beyond the box.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so, and you want to do all those things before you report the foul to the referee.
Gotcha.
Because once you report it to him, then he's going to know what we got. And his next question to me is going to be, is our spot good?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to say yes. And then our umpire and center judge can mark it off and we're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Cool.